All right, so Temur Tears here. Tears, in this case, refers to this card, Flood of Tears. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hand. If you return 4 or more non-token permanents you control this way, you may put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield. So, notably, this does not bounce our Nissa lands. So that's one way we gain advantage with Flood of Tears, kind of break the symmetry. Another great way to break the symmetry is by ramping more with Cavalier of Thorns, or we have this one really cheeky Omniscience here. So you can pick all your stuff up, drop the Omniscience into play, and then replay out the entirety of your hand. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into some matches and see how this goes. At the core, we're kind of blue-green elemental / ramp deck. And then we've got Flood at the top end is kind of our big go over the top style play. We've got just a collection of like pretty reasonable good Magic cards overall. Sure. 3 colors of mana, a Leafkin Druid, send me up. Is Risen Reef plus Omnath the new Explorer package for standard after rotation? Yeah, probably. Adds a lot of consistency and card advantage. Very, very similar for sure. Yeah, this deck can definitely just cast Omniscience too if you ramp hard enough. That's true. It does not gain life, which makes matches like this a lot harder, right? Like, we're on the draw. If the opposing aggro deck is a good draw here, people keep asking me, like, do these Temur elemental decks, like, have staying power? Like, how they do in matchups like this is a big part of, do they have staying power or not, in my mind. All right, so we definitely just wanna try and accelerate here, right? We want to try and hit Flood of Tears. Yeah, the fact that Omnath is Temur means it doesn't just slot into everything like the Explore package kind of did. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm in Forest. Should I play this thing? All right, I think Llanowar Elves is heading under a bus for me here. Yep. All right, so if I do... That's awkward. So if I play Omnath, I can't play Llanowar Elves off of Steam Vents, but I'm not even sure I want to shock this turn either. And I kind of want to be able to put a counter on this. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and just kill this, just to, like, alleviate some amount of pressure here. So if I put a counter here, this can now block one of these that doesn't have a counter on it. So I assume we're going to see them put a +1 counter on one of the other ones, and then they'll attack for 5, 9, 12, and we'll block 1. Yeah.
I bestow a mighty curse.
Yeah, I guess they just don't attack with the other one then. So if I go to 2 here, I can't draw a shock land to cast Tears next turn, so I think I need to chump. a prayer. Take my hands, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, living on a prayer. Do 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 do.
This is but a taste of my power.
It's a shame. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. That's not really enough to get anything going, right? I guess it kind of is. So I need to gain a life this turn, right? Because I need to be able to. I have to gain life because Sorin. I have to gain life because Sorin's gonna kill me next turn otherwise. Is the issue, because I'm at 3. I think I'm 1 short.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Yeah, I'm actually 1 short because I can drop Nissa back in, but I don't have another forest. So I can't actually make more green mana. I guess if I do this, I could draw 2 or draw 1 and go up to 4, but then I don't have enough blockers, right? I actually can't do this. Casting a creature and earning mana doesn't do anything, though. Yeah, no, I'm just not going to show them Flood. I don't want them to know that's a card that they're playing around. It's not all of these decks have been doing that, so. Just good solid aggressive start out of the opponent there. We were close-ish to stabilizing, but not quite. Chandra, Awaken Inferno sounds good. If I just had a second forest in play there, I would have been able to pick everything up, put the Nissa back into play. Oh, wait, I wouldn't even, right? If you return 4 or more. No, that wouldn't have worked anyway, so I wasn't going to get to put anything into play, because the lands don't come back. So a forest wouldn't have changed anything. Definitely want these. Do I want Lava Coil? I don't know that I do. They've got so many little guys. I think I'd rather just have Chandra. Like, in my mind, decks like this, if you're wondering, like, do they have staying power? The question is definitely not how do we do against mid-range and control. It's how do we do against, like, these vampire decks and, like, the mono reds, the mono blue of the world. Like, how often do we just die to the decks that have good, strong, aggressive curves? I could have played Baby Krasis. No, that doesn't work. Either blue is the color, because they end step make a 1/1, untap, attack me for 1, sacrifice it, deal 3. So that doesn't quite work. This is a turn 3 Cavalier on the play. Sign me up. Llanowar Elves, the busted card, chat. News at 11. The creature lands would be tapped. Blue is the color. So I'd had exactly enough mana, I believe. Or maybe I'd have had 1 untapped because I was one short. Maybe the Hinterland Harbor. Yeah, maybe you're right. Because the Hydra would have also unlocked a 4th mana, or an extra mana from the Elemental Dork. All right, well, this is all I have until we find something meaningful. Yeah, I'm super excited for Llanowar Elves to go away. This card is very subtly format warping. I feel like the way in which this card warps the format is difficult for people to identify why it's so format warping. This is my 5/6 with Reach. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Oh no! Oh, we've all been there, chat. Don't act like you haven't attacked a flying creature into this card before, because we know in your heart of hearts that you have. This is why I can never play ramp decks, and why, actually, honestly, the fact there's so many ramp decks in this format's a little bit medium, in my opinion, because like ramp decks are just like stuff like this always happens with them. You're just like, well, I hope I draw a payoff, chat. If I draw a payoff, we're gonna win real good. If I don't draw a payoff, we're gonna be sad and do nothing. Yeah, we had tried vampires on stream, and the list we played on stream didn't have Mortify in it. It was playing Kaya's, Oath of Kaya, and that felt a little bit mediocre. We've got like 1 or 2 draw steps here to draw a thing. Hey, look, chat. That kind of qualifies as a thing. Give him the claw. This land will draw a card next turn now, because it's land number 8. To go ahead and crank this up to a 4/4 so we can block the vanguards. Meow. I know, cat, it's exciting. Alright. I would like this Risen Reef, please. Old Cheeto Fingers himself. That's such a great name. I think elementals are good enough. I have no idea. If they can beat the aggro decks consistently, yes. If they can't, definitely not. Mid-range decks are pretty bad in this format. Like Bant manipulation type stuff tends to be pretty reasonable. I watched it off and on. It's a pretty good one, chat. It's a pretty good one. Are we doing it, chat? I think we're doing it! Who am I kidding? Ramp decks are great. Who is talking crap about the ramp deck? Ramp decks are wonderful, chat. Just wonderful. Trigger. I hear if you click on the cat, you can get banned. Is that true? I believe so. Alright, I would like to scry before I draw a card. The swings a Dakazoom. Whew! Whew, the swings while playing the elemental deck are bigger than you'll find on the Giants playground. Like, the swings are really impressive. Don't mind me. Just drawing some cards. I'll just be over here drawing some cards. Hey, Kuntz, these decks are fun to play. I don't know if they're good, but they're definitely fun to play. This is a heck of an engine. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, zoom, zoom. You know what I want to know? Whenever the opponent does that, they like draw a card for the turn and then concede. I'm like, what card was in their deck that like isn't a concession there? Like what's the draw? Like, what's the okay, we'll keep playing pickup there? Like, is there one? And like, we controlled that game pretty well, but like, remember, we were on the play and had Llanowar Elves. Yeah, I agree with Gargoyle completely there in chat. This is an example of when you win so big that it makes you forget about the loads of losses in between. 10 out of 10 agree. The big swings are a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep that. Ramp it up. Ramp it up. Ramp it up. When you're playing a janky Yarok Explorer deck and Wild Growth, life gain out of the zombie range, that's funny. Alright, this might be a game where we're too slow. I guess I'm double accelerating this turn. I guess I'm double accelerating this turn. Am I dead though? Am I dead? I need to hit a land, huh? I think we've died, chat. I think that's actually good for us. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I gotta throw this under a bus. And then we're dead to the Sorin down tick next turn. We're dead to play a thing, play Sorin, kill us. The opponent's deck is one of the many vampire decks that did well at the Open this past weekend. Black-White Vampires was one of 2 archetypes, or was the only archetype to put 2 copies into the single elimination rounds. And not that all of the weight should be put into the single elimination matches, but it is telling that it was one of the, it is reasonable to look at that is a potential sign that it's going to be good. We were dead regardless of what we did. There were lots of different ways we were dead there, and it was a choose your own adventure book for how we died, but it was actually just irrelevant. And again, regardless of what iteration of Temur Elementals you're playing, I feel like that matchup there and the mono red matchup, those are the litmus test. Those are the which of these things, those are the, is this thing truly competitive? If yes, it's going to be able to keep up here. And like maybe decks like this need to be rebuilt at least post-board to like have a bunch of shocks to not die. Okay, yep. Speak of the mono red devil and it will appear. Cavalier, okay. Hey, Camboni Machine, thanks for the half year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Give him the Cheeto fingers. Give him the claw. Wow. They didn't get either card. They didn't get either card from that light up the stage. It's pretty brutal. All right, if we can get to 4 permanents here, we've got the Flooded Tears plus Omniscience. We might not have time to get to 4 permanents, chat. We might not have time. Oh, they sequenced wrong. Been there, done that. So they should have. I don't think I can afford to wait for this. I think I just need to tell people to pick their stuff up. Was this a good draw? What do we think of that one? Not bad. Maybe I'm supposed to play Omnath there instead. Just because, like, this can become unblockable. We're on a 6 here. Light them up. We're on fire! Do 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 do. Flood of tears now. Are we still dead? I think we're still dead regardless of how we do it, right? I think we're dead. Because this does 3. Yeah, I think I should have Omnathed this. Yeah, I should have Omnathed this instead of playing this last turn, because this doesn't have haste. So like, if I would have the triggers on the Cavalcade kill me from the other thing, chat. This whole Flood of Tears plan is just bad here, I think. Yeah, I should have Omnath the Dodger the turn prior. And then, like, when they play the Flyer, I can then play the Thorns as, like, a blocker. And my health total's a little bit higher. And then I could maybe stabilize and get the Omniscience down. Bleed for your mana. We will bleed for the mana. There's no way this bites us. Oh, do. Not right. Thank you for the 5-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Shocking. Truly shocking. Whew. Painless lands, chat. All about them painless lands. Really? Old Noah Tackaroonie, eh? The old Noah Tackaroonie, eh? Eh? Rough. That is correct, Rage Herder. That getting the 3/3 is not contingent on the thing you target dying. Doesn't say target it, and if it dies, do the thing. It happens regardless. Like, as far as draws go, that's like pretty close to the top, right? It's pretty good. Going to 9. Where are my elementals, chat? Where all my elementals be? Where all my elementals be? Gosh, we were almost out of the percentages there too. Just slid right back down in with pirates in this. Hey, Demondish, thank you for the 3 months of support. I appreciate the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yep. Colors of mana. Mana dorks. Let's do it. What am I munching on? Skippy peanut butter bites. Looking for some action here. Already got some ramp established. Have a couple of lands lined up. Looking for one of our more payoff cards here. Flood of Tears is some sweet technology against opposing decks that have mass manipulation in them. Yeah, exactly. Yay! Magic is fun. I love magic. Yikes. Alright, so I think I'm killing their Teferi with this. Give them the Cheeto fingers. Then we can go land, power him up so he can block 4/4s, play a 1/1. Jeff, when you say magic is fun, I love magic, it kind of sounds like you mean the opposite. Do you have anything to say for yourself? You're not wrong. All right, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9, 10 mana here. So they can yoink our entire board. They can yoink the entire board. Our Flood of Tears as is isn't even very good, just because they get to keep their Nissa lands, which is not really what we're looking for. This is 10 mana. Is this a Krasis? You think someone would do that? Just play Nissa and steal all our stuff? I do. Well, they didn't make 4 blue, so I assume they have a Krasis here and not a... Do I just like Flood of Tears to reset anyways? I feel like I do. And I think I just want to set up to like Omnath next turn. Like Omnath kill one of their lands. Yeah, these are still lands, so they do not get bounced by Flood of Tears, unfortunately. Which is like good with our copy of Nissa, but less good when they have a Nissa. Yeah, Tamiyo picks back up Flood is the general idea of what we have going on. So I think next turn we're like Leafkin Druid, Omnath, shoot a land, play a Llanowar Elf. Are we just dead here? So I go block, chump. I can technically I go to 1 here if they attack with everything. And I lose these two, they lose 1/3/3. That kind of chokes how much mana they have for the turn. And like maybe if I hit another flood we could be okay. Nah, probably not, because I'm losing these and they're gonna keep their 3/3s in play. Even if I had Chandra in my main deck, which I don't, Chandra's sweeper does not kill elementals, and these are elementals. Yeah, there's one Omniscience, Marty. There's one copy of Omniscience. This deck does not feel particularly good so far. I don't even know what I'm supposed to cut here, really. Am I supposed to just go off the Flood of Tears plan since they're a Nissa deck? They could also be a Steal Your Stuff deck though, and like if they're a Steal Your Stuff deck, I want the Flood. Yeah, this is compared to feels like there's a lot more air overall. And like having Flood of Tears be one of our payoffs, be like this kind of cheeky, cute thing instead of like this big thing that wins the game on its own feels awkward. If I want to bring Stroke in, what do I want to cut for it, and why do I want to cut that? I was looking at the Teferi countdown timer thinking 63 days isn't that many. It turns out it's 63 weeks. That's 7 times more. It is in fact 7 times worse than 63 days. It's a tough one. Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that there's so many other Nissa decks in the format, and the fact that Flooded Tears doesn't bounce those lands is like a big deal as well. This hand's very good. We want to draw a 3rd land and ideally a red source, but like very reasonable otherwise. The art on this card is excellent, by the way. It's like Flying Mentor. Also, so I see people referencing other lists they've seen played. So, lists you've seen played up until this point, post the first major tournament, and even like in the few days leading up to it, as deck lists become more tuned every season, You always see more and more, like the first week we were playing, the decks we were able to play, we were able to win with worse decks the first week after the set releases because there's more people trying things. The further and further away from set release we get, the worse and worse the bad decks are because everything else is becoming more optimized in the interim. If that makes sense. I almost wanted to just play this to draw 1 here to try and hit my land drop, but at the same time, I think I want to just be able to, like, if I hit these Cavaliers of Thorns, I'm then going to be able to play this for a lot more, so I think that's more appealing here. Yeah, that's a great way to phrase it. We're moving more away from what's working and optimizing for what's winning, specifically. Don't take my friend. He's my only druid. Gosh, if we'd have hit the red source there and gotten to kill this with Omnath, we'd have been in such a good spot. Huh. I've not used a renting service for MTGO traders personally, but I would highly recommend not using mana traders. Heard piles of negative things about that one. I believe Card Hoarder has a rental service of some sort. They're a pretty reputable company. But lots of nightmare customer service stories from people that have used mana traders that I've heard secondhand. So, if I'd have sequenced my mana a little bit better here, I could have had a 4/4 Omnath that then wouldn't have died to this. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that Paradise Druid gave me red mana, Steric. Do I want to gamble? I'm a Magic player, so probably. If I play this and it hits a land, I can Cavalier of Thorns this turn also. So I'm going to decline putting this onto the battlefield because I want to play it untapped here. Because I had yet to play a land for the turn. I don't think so. Like, what am I even drawing to at this point's the question. Like, I don't actually know how I beat their board. Like, how do I actually beat this Oketra? This is probably fine, I guess. There's a Nissa in here, but like my Nissa things are smaller than this, right? I think I boarded out my tiers because they were a Nissa deck. I didn't know they were an Oketra deck.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
10, 13. I'm gonna give this one more try, but really not too into what's going on here. Someone asked, the Temur Elementalists on your website struggle like this deck does. So the list on my website is a little bit less of a ramp deck and a little bit more of a lower to the ground aggressive deck. It's got red interaction in it, so it doesn't just get run over like this one does. It plays things like the 2/5 Elemental Living Twister. So this is more of a ramp style deck that's less interactive and trying to just do its thing, and it seems like the thing we're doing is like less impressive than what other people are doing, which leaves us in a bad spot. The other build's a little bit lower to the ground, a little more interactive, which gives you a much better aggressive matchup. I'm so sorry for what I submitted into the form today. Listen, if it'll put a smile on my face, we don't have to win games with it. It'll be okay. There's a chance I don't respond to form submissions tonight. Unless it's for a big one. We'll see. I'll probably glance at it. I think we're taking the kids. I plan to do one more deck after this. I think we're taking the kids to the pool tonight. After I'm done. Feather. Yeah, I don't know how we ever beat this deck reasonably. Like if they have anything reasonable from here, I'm not sure how we can ever win. Like they have Reckless Rage, just gonna like slaughter our entire board here at this point. So, my general lazy rule of thumb is that more precise calculations, while obviously more precise and from a purity standpoint, you can spend a lot of effort like getting a more precise calculation. From a practicality standpoint, the amount of difference you gain doing all that extra work is generally pretty minimal. So a lot of the time when I'm doing calculations for like what will I draw when and stuff like that, I'm pretty sloppy about it. Just because like the amount of precision increase you gain from the amount of effort you proportionally exert doing the calculation is generally not a worthwhile exchange. Well, we hit another Cavalier in there, which is nice. Cavalier might just ramp us up into Omniscience. I think Simic Flash might push Feather out a bit. Why do you think Simic Flash pushes Feather out? Just because it's like trying to rely on a 3-mana threat? I feel like Feather, especially if you end up playing some Veil of Summer in your sideboard, is probably fine there. It's probably play on both sides. Yeah, I agree. Like, to give an example with concrete numbers, like, if your computation is 1% more accurate, but you spend 40% more time figuring that computation out, like, was your time really worth that extra percentage? Probably not, right? Meow. I know, cat. I'm scared too. This deck seems real bad. Pump up, the bump up, the wump up, the jam. Pump up, the wump up, the bump up, the jam. That's true. Unsummon is very good. 7 or 3 lands off of casting this, theoretically. I assume Omnath's about to eat a big fat rage. Reckless Rage. Do 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 pew pew pew. Trickster cancels Feather getting back spells. I don't believe so. Because Feather adds the text to the spell that's being cast. So I don't believe that trigger is dependent on Feather specifically. I'm going to be done with this one and roll on to Green-White Bow as the last deck of the day. I wanted to get to Green-White Bow today, and this one was a pretty big miss for me. I felt, to summarize why this deck was a miss for me, I felt like this deck, it's not interactive, it's just trying to be linear and kind of do its thing, and ultimately the thing that this deck is doing doesn't feel powerful enough to be the fact that we're ignoring what the opponent's doing completely. So I think a little bit lower to the ground build of elementals, similar to what's on my website with a little bit more interaction, is almost certainly better than this. I'd also recommend looking at, like, obviously the list from this past weekend that did well at the SCG Open, but this kind of go big, ignore what the opponent's doing was not something that really felt good.